So, on our today's presentation, we will discussing based on the Max Weber theory, where Max Weber argued that modern societies undergo a process of rationalization in which social life becomes increasingly organized around calculation, efficiency, and predictability. This process reshapes institutions such as the economy, government, and in law. In pre-modern societies, law was often based on tradition, religion, or personal authority. But modern law, Weber believed that it would be grounded in rational rules and systematic procedures. And then, when Weber described modern law as a cold machine, he was highlighting that its impersonal and mechanical character. Legal decisions are made by applying abstract rules to cases in a consistent way, rather than considering personal circumstances or moral feeling. Judges and officials act as technical experts who administer the law, not as individuals exercising personal judgment or compassion. Justice, in this sense, becomes something that is processed through procedure rather than experienced as a moral act. And then, this idea is closely linked to Weber's concept of formally rational law. Formally rational law relies on general, clearly defined rules that are applied uniformly. It is independent of ethical values, religious belief, or emotional consideration, and it aims for consistency and predictability. Such a legal system allows people, especially in the capitalist economy, to calculate outcomes in advance, for example, in contracts or business dispute. Fourth, the cold machine of law also fits into Weber's broader idea of the iron cage. Rational systems, once created, begin to dominate human life. Individuals become subject to rigid rules and procedures, and personal values or ethical considerations are pushed aside. Law becomes technically effective, but emotionally detached and morally neutral. Weber was deeply ambivalent about this outcome. On the one hand, rational law promotes equality before the law and protects people from arbitrary power. On the other hand, it risks dehumanization by ignoring the complexities of individual life and substantive justice. His theory is therefore both an explanation of modern law and a warning about the human cost of excessive rationalization.
So, the iron cage is actually a metaphor that used to criticize an extreme form of legal formalism in judicial decision making, whereby this metaphor describes a system in which judges view their role as mechanically applying written legal, such as the rules, statutes, and also precedents, without actually consider the broader notions of justice, morality, social consequences, or fairness in the individual cases. Under this iron cage approach, the authority of the law is derived solely from its formal validity and not from its moral content. So judges operating within this framework believe that departing from the literal wording of the law would amount to judicial overreach, and thus consequently they suppress discretion, equity, and also context to interpretation, even where strict application of the law produce harsh, unreasonable, and also morally troubling outcomes. This system creates several implications, such as it promotes certainty, predictability, and also consistency, as similar cases are decided in the same way regardless of their human impact. However, these advantages come to a significant cost, because the law becomes detached from a lived reality and justice is reduced to technical legality rather than the substantive fairness. So there is a critical critics that argue whereby the iron cage undermines the purpose of law itself, which is not merely to enforce the rules but to achieve justice. By ignoring social context, evolving values, and also moral considerations, judges risk legitimizing unjust laws and perpetuating systematic unfairness.
Constitutional rights is a context to be importantly discussed, which is interrelated to the theory of Welbeck's in a sense of sociology. First and foremost, the values must we look through is the anti-machine mechanism, where Welbeck's in his mind is there must be one kind of injection of the value of rationality into the legal system to enable the legal system to be more vulnerable. When we say that about this legal system to be vulnerable, the first thing is there must be reserve of rights. And for example, embedded with society values, we must have liberty, we must have equity and fairness. Basically, it's rights. The right to speak, the right for assembly, the right to form an association. This is one of the fundamental core values in, say, various or in a big society as well. And next, there must be the procedural correctness, where we speaking of natural justice. And natural justice, it involves the right of fair hearing and also the rule against bias. These two elements in natural justice must work coexistently, simultaneously. And next, it is an order to follow, but in some case, the bureaucracy is not absolute, where we see when this role by itself, which is the judiciary, must step in order to determine that the interpretation of the constitution by itself is the judiciary. So judiciary, which is the judges, have to say to identify whether there is ambiguity on the law. And the judiciary are the institution that should interpret the law, whether it's valid or null and considered be void. And the third value is the right must become the machine, where we see it is interrelated with the above 2 points I mentioned just now, where it must be predictable and universal, and it must go beyond thousands of the rules and precedents by itself. And where this is the fundamental or core principle that we must do through it. And it must navigate a complex legal bureaucracy, and looking to a broader jurisdiction or perspective in order to achieve the equity and justice.
Equity functions as a corrective mechanism designed to mitigate the rigidity and potential issue of injustice, strictly codified legal system, ensuring that law serves substantive justice rather than mere procedural conformity. Although Max Weber did not explicitly address equity, his theory of rational legal authority emphasizes fairness, predictability, and also procedural impartiality. Through bureaucratic principles such as hierarchy, rule-based administration, specialization, impersonality, and merit-based employment, which is economy and society. However, Weber's model of formal rationality decision-making, according to Obsidian, codified rule-based rigid and mechanistic outcome that overlook moral and contextual consideration. In this respect, equity operates as a fairness of right, historically developed through the Court of Chancery to temper the strict application of common law. This is illustrated in Earl of Oxford case in 1615, where equity was held to prevail over conflicting legal rules, and it was in Lansdale, affirming that equity prioritized substance over form. In contemporary constitutional and administrative law, equitable reasoning underpins doctrines such as proportionality, legitimate expectation, and substantive equality. As seen in Andrews against Law Society of British Columbia in 1989 and jurisprudence of the European Court of Human Rights. Accordingly, equity can be understood as essential balancing mechanism within Weberian bureaucratic system, preserving efficiency and legal certainty while preventing injustice and ensuring that law remains aligned with moral reason and human dignity. Okay, moving on to the human right under international human rights law. Weber defined that substantive rationality as lawmaking that is guided by ethical, imperative, utilitarian rule or political maxim rather than just internal logic. International human rights law fits this perfectly. Universal values over state rules. In a Weberian formal system, a law is valid just because the state passed it. In international human rights law, a state law is invalid if it violates the substantive value of human rights, which is torture is wrong even if a local law permits it. According to the Martin Clause and public consign, international court often cite the laws of humanity and the dictates of the public consign. Weber would have seen this as irrational because it not a fixed written rule, but modern courts see it as the highest form of justice. We may refer to the case study, which is the International Court of Justice often use that equity and unity to interpret treaties. They aren't just calculating the rules, they are making value rational decision. Back to study case, which is Hirsi Jama and others again Italy in 2012, where the fact In 2009, the Italian Coast Guard intercepted boats of African migrants in the Mediterranean. Following their own national maritime laws and formal bilateral agreement with Libya, Italy immediately sent the migrant back to Tripoli without checking who they were. And then Italy argued, like a classic Weberian, which is a former rationalist, that the rule said Italy pointed to a specific signed treaty with Libya and their own navigation code. That's their logic that we follow the established procedure. The law says we can return illegal migrant intercepted at sea. Therefore, our action is legally valid. That is what Weber's prediction that this is the formal mission, it is predictable and follows the letter of the law regardless of the moral outcome. And the European Court of Human Rights stated that stepped in and broke Italian machine using substantive rationality. That the court stated that the court looked at the human dignity and the value of non-refoulement, which is the rule that you cannot send someone back to a place where they might be tortured. The logic, the court ruled that even if Italy followed its own technical maritime laws, those laws were invalid because they violated the substantive value of human rights. And the result, Italy was forced to pay damages to the migrant. Thus, the substantive value, which is dignity, beat the former rule in the Italy-Libya Treaty. And then, based on Weber's framework, it is applied because it gives us the language to describe detention. But its prediction failed because international human rights law represent a massive comeback for substantive rationality. Thus, based on the case study example, we could say that the Weber prediction that the international human rights law basically does only apply the former rationalist does not relevant, and basically they also have international human rights where include the equity and dignity. So that's all from me. Thank you.
The conclusion is Weber's framework of formal rationality remains relevant in explaining modality system, particularly in the emphasis on predictability, consistency, and rule-based decision making. However, strict formal rationality alone is insufficient, as the iron cage approach risks dehumanization and outcomes that prioritize technical legality over genuine justice. International human rights law reflect a clear shift towards substantive rationality, where human dignity and moral values can override formal rules, demonstrating that modern law is increasingly value-laden rather than purely mechanical.